What's up, YouTube? It's your boy G Money, aka the Echelon Don. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. And this is another episode of Sidewalk Talk. Today, I want to talk about being a legal carrier, but hanging around and having friends that are illegal carriers. Mm, mm. And you say, well, what that got to do with me? It can have a lot to do with you, actually. I have a lot of friends that don't have the privilege of being able to carry legally because they might have something on their record that prevents them from doing that. Not everybody has this. Not everybody has that same situation. But I'm pretty sure you might have a friend that did something in the past that might prevent them from carrying legally right now. Um, and the reason why I say that can kind of it could be a tricky situation. You know what I'm saying? Because you just never know what could pop off and happen, and you end up in a situation. You know, I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, what if you are a legal carrier and you're hanging around your buddies, your friends that are not able to legally carry, but they are carrying, and say y'all hanging out somewhere, y'all just chilling, you know, on a porch or something, or somewhere at somebody's house, just chilling. And just say somebody that has a problem with your friends happen to be coming up the street, and he sees y'all sitting on the porch, and he starts shooting in y'all direction. And just say, for self-defense purposes, y'all all react. You pull out your firearm and return fire. Your friends pull out their firearm and return fire. Um, or just say it could be at a house, a gas station. It could be anywhere. You just happen to be around your buddies, and 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 this scenario happens where y'all return fire on somebody that's shot at your group, and just say y'all end up hitting that person and killing them, right? Now, first of all, don't nobody know whose bullet hit him. Out of, just say it's four of y'all, you got three other buddies with you. Nobody knows whose bullet hit him, and your friends are not playing by the same set of rules that you're playing by. You're a law-abiding citizen, and you have to cooperate with the law because you have a legal firearm. They get in a shootout and they have illegal firearms. Their first reaction is they got to get the hell out of there because they can't get caught with them firearms or they about to do jail time. So they are leaving the scene immediately. So you're going to be left on the scene with a dead body. Just say that y'all hit him and he's laid out. Now you stay on the scene because you got to speak to officers and tell your side of the story, or maybe not tell your side of the story, but you have to stay on the scene being a legal carrier. Unless they say it's best to stay on the scene unless the scene is dangerous and you need to get up out of there, you know. But most likely they want you to be on the scene unless it's too dangerous to stay on the scene. Okay, so you have to stay on the scene. The police show up. It's a body on the ground. It's shells and bullets everywhere. And it's only two of you out there. But it's different shell casings and different bullets out there. So they're like, wait a second. He got hit with different rounds. Who else was out here shooting? Now, boom, you in a situation now, ain't you? Now you got to, What you gonna say? You didn't know the other guys? You know, you gonna tell on your friends? What you gonna do? You know, you're in a situation right now because you got to explain where all these other bullets come from. You only got one gun on you. You got a 10 round. You got 10 rounds in your magazine, and it's about 50 shots out here. Because you know your friends could be walking around with extendos and shit. So you know what I'm saying? So now you got to explain all of this shit because they gone. They gone. They been gone. And it's only you and a dead body out there. And probably some witnesses that's going to say, yeah, he was with some buddies, some group of guys, and then that guy across the street started shooting at them, and then they started shooting back, and then his buddies took off running, and he stayed. Boom. Who are your buddies? That's the police first. Who the guys you was with? We need names. We need addresses. Oh, sir, I don't know their names or their addresses or anything like that. I just was going in the store and I happened to see them and we was hanging out there. I mean, you're going to have to come up with something because you have to explain this situation. You have to explain why this guy is no longer breathing. And you're the legal carrier, so you're supposed to be the responsible one. So, you know what I mean? You can get jammed up, man, being in a situation where you hang around people. Especially if you constantly hang around a group of people, like these are the people that you hang with on a regular, and you know that they're illegal, but you're legal, it's almost a matter of time before you get caught up in something where you might have to pull your firearm out with them, helping them in a shootout, you know, that you didn't want to get involved with, but since those are your friends, you don't have no choice. Plus, you know what I mean, somebody shooting at you, you got to defend yourself. But then, damn, you're going to be left alone to explain what happened with all those rounds or all them rounds out there on the ground, you know, and a possible body. So you got to be careful, man, when you're hanging with people that are not legally carrying. They don't have to stick around and talk to the law. They playing by a different set of rules. You know, they're risking their freedom every day they step outside with their firearm because that firearm is not legal. They can do jail any day they get caught with that firearm. And you know, you got the responsibility of having to cooperate. So, you know, think about it and use your head when you know you hanging around some people that, you know, they might not even be bad people. You know what I'm saying? Just because they not able to get their gun permit or their gun license don't necessarily make you a bad person. You just might have did some shit that, you know, it don't look right on paper. You never know what the situation was. That don't make you a bad person because you can't get your gun legally. It's just you have to carry it and risk your freedom because, hey, it's a wild world out here. So people are gonna carry regardless and risk their freedom. You know, and you being a legal carrier, like I said, you know, I'm gonna keep saying it. You have to stay on scene and cooperate and talk to the police. They don't. They get to take off and run and be at the house or somewhere hiding out. And you gotta, you know, they gotta depend on you to come up with a story not to snitch on them. And give up their addresses and all that shit and names and stuff like that. And answer, you know, why are these rounds out here? Who was the people that you was with? Who was the people that you were shooting with? You know, the cops gonna want to know that. You know, they gonna want to know. You know, this guy's over here, you know, unalived, and it's bullets all over him. It's bullets all around him. You know what I'm saying? And you only got one pistol on you. So who was holding the other guns? Who was shooting the other guns? You know, so you gotta be careful, man. You know, you just never know. You know, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you lose yours, and now you gonna end up getting you a firearm and being illegal now, and now you risking your freedom every day because you got caught up in some mess. So, you know, that was something I was just thinking about. You know, I haven't did a video in a while, like about 6-7 days. You know, like I said before, y'all, I just don't want to do any kind of videos that don't make no sense, or just, you know, just to make a video. I want to have something of, you know, that make you think and something that could actually happen, you know. So this is something I was thinking about, like, you know, I know a lot of people that can't legally carry and that I hung around. I don't, you know, necessarily hang around that crowd anymore. But what if I did? You know, if I did hang around that crowd still, and we get up and watch football games or hung out with each other, and we happen to be in an area and something happened where somebody saw somebody that didn't like, and a shootout happened, and now I'm engaged in a self defense shootout with some guys that are illegally carrying. And now I have to answer for all of the stuff that just happened because I'm a legal carrier and I have to, you know, abide by the law and cooperate with the police. So, you know, that's a tough one right there. So you might want to be careful if you hanging around some people that are illegally carrying and they quick tempered or they hotheads. You don't want to be the one there having to explain what happened and possibly telling on your friend or whatever the case may be, because you know the law they gonna want answers. So you know, this your boy G Money, aka the Echelon Don, and I'm my brother's keeper. Yes, I am. And this is another episode of Sidewalk Talk. You know, this is something to think about, man. Not saying that everybody will be in this situation. Not saying that anyone would be in this situation, but it's possible. You know, so be careful out there, man. And if you're in a cold area right now, getting hit with these below zero temperatures like I am, stay warm, man. Stay in the house, turn that heat up, and stay out of trouble. God bless y'all. I'm out.